Greetings, viewers and subscribers. It has been a little while since we put out our last video entitled The Sunday Law Here or Near, but it has become necessary that we do a part 2 in this, as we had looked at Revelation 13, where the beast rising out of the sea was identified. The beast with the two horns rising out of the ground was also identified. We looked at the historical aspects of these two beasts, which are two powers in world rulership, present and future activities that will be exercised by these two powers, the Roman Catholic system and the United States of America, and the part they are to play in ushering in a new era in world dominion, the New World Order, and impact religious freedom. It is necessary for us to do a part 2 as a follow-up to the previous video so as to give further clarity to issues outlined in that video. We begin with the restrictions of economics, buying and selling, according to Revelation 13, reading from verse 16 and 17. So let us read. It says here, "And he causeth both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." We're going to look at Revelation 18 a little bit more, but let us read something here from The Spirit of Prophecy, Volume 4, written by Ellen White. And she wrote, "The beast with lamb-like horns commands all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. This is the mark concerning which the third angel utters his warning. It is the mark of the beast, or the papacy, and is therefore to be sought among the distinguishing characteristics of that power. The prophet Daniel declared that the Roman Church, symbolized by the little horn, was to think to change times and laws in Daniel 7 and verse 25. While Paul styled it the man of sin, 2 Thessalonians 2, 3 and 4, who was to exalt himself above God. Only by changing God's law could the papacy exalt itself above God, and whoever should understandingly keep the law as thus changed would be giving supreme honor to that power by which the change was made. Such an act of obedience to papal laws would be a mark of allegiance to the Pope in the place of God." And Spirit of Prophecy, Volume 4, page 279.1. The papacy has attempted to change the law of God. The second commandment, forbidding image worship, has been dropped from the law, and the fourth commandment has been so changed as to authorize the observance of the first instead of the seventh day as the Sabbath. All right, we had looked at this in a previous video, and so we are going to explore the matter a little bit more. We had also looked a little bit at Revelation 13 and verse 18, that is counting up the number of the beast power, that is a papacy. And we looked at the fact that it was the name, one of the names that was given to the man who sits at the helm of the system of the papacy, that is at the head of the Roman Catholic system that we know as the Pope. And so we are going to read Revelation 13 and verse 18. And it says, here is wisdom, Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600 threescore and 6. That is 666. So counting up the number of the name of the beast in Latin, the name are reference to the Pope by his faithfuls is Vicarius Filii Dei, or vicar or substitute of the Son of God. So we are going to look at now the letters in Latin and count them up in Roman numerals, because each of these letters would carry a numerical value. So let us look at it. V is equal to 5. I is equal to 1. C is equal to 100. A has no numerical value, so it is 0. R, just the same, equals 0. I equal 1. U, which is V, can be used interchangeable with V to ascribe the number, equal 5. And S has no numerical value, so it's equal to 0. F is equal to 0. I is equal to 1. L is equal to 50. I is equal to 1. I is equal to 1. Day. D is equal to 500. E is equal to 0. I is equal to 1. When you check these up, the numerical values ascribed to each letter, you will get invariably 666, true to what the Bible has given us, so that we can count up the number of his name. So 666 is not, as many would think, the mark of the beast, but the number of the head of the system, the man who sits at the head of the system. That's the number of his name. And remember we said Vicarius Filii Dei, and it adds up to 666 in Roman figures, because that is a Latin name. The name is written in Latin. So we would see that, and we of course we had looked at the United States giving support and causing all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. And we looked at what the symbolism is all about as it relates to hand or forehead. It's not that somebody is going to come around with a branding iron or something like that to brand the hand or the forehead to put in the mark of the beast. The forehead would symbolize that somebody make a conscious decision to follow that system of worship. That's all it boils down to worship, to follow that system of worship. Or in the hand, it means that one would be forced to carry out that activity, to carry out the activities of the dictates of that power. So the hand would mean the one would be forced to carry that activity. The forehead symbolizes that one would make a conscious decision, because many people would have known Sunday worship from they were small, and they have grown to accept it. And even though the fact was brought that this is not the law of the Lord, or one of his commandments as given in the Decalogue, the fourth commandment, God commands that us to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shall thou labor and do all thy work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. So, whereas the Lord has given that commandment, and that power now would contradict that to put up a different day from what the Lord has commanded us to keep holy. That would mean that it is the mark of that power's authority. We have explained that in the previous video. So we would have also looked at the fact that America, while the beast in Revelation 3 and 13 and verse 3, we would have seen that the beast would have been given a mortal wound. And we also explained that during the French Revolution, the papacy received a mortal wound as the Pope then was taken prisoner back to Rome, France, and died in exile, Pope Pius VI. So the fact of the matter also is that America was then a young nation, having been founded on the 4th of July in 1776, and they were rising to power. All right? So they have arisen to the point now where they have world dominion. All right? So it was during the decades before the 1980s, we would have heard of the arms race, which means that there were two powers that were vying for world dominion. That was the Soviet Union and the United States of America. But between the late 1980s, early 1990s, we have seen the dismantling and the breaking down of the Soviet Union. So America now is the sole world power, as we have explained previously. So the America has now great dominion all over the world. And we are seeing more and more that they are pressing more and more their dominance over the world. Right now, as I speak, the war has been declared on Iran by the United States of America and Israel. Now, this has tremendous political, financial, religious implications. In the recent month or so, we have also witnessed that America had captured in his own country the president of Venezuela, Maduro, and took him prisoner to the United States of America, where he is still a prisoner there. They also took over the oil reserves of that country, said to be one of the biggest or the largest oil reserve in the world. So they have control of that. They also have control of Iraq. I remember in the Desert Storm, I think it was in the year 2004, where Iraq was accused of having weapons of mass destruction, and they were invaded and taken over. And subsequent to that, the president of Iraq, Saddam Hussein, was killed, was taken out. All right, so America has control of that. Note also that Iran and other Middle Eastern countries are oil-producing states from which most regions of the world get their supplies. That drives their industry, power their homes, run their businesses, so their lives economically are dependent on this oil. Now, any country who has control of the oil reserves control the economics of the world to a large extent. This has implications for world dominion and the ability of countries to buy and sell or trade, also to feed themselves. So the country or the power that has that dominion and has that power, and we know that America is the greatest economic power in the world, greatest military power, and greatest resources at their disposal. So they call the shots, as so to speak, as we would call it. So they can decide what and give instructions to any world leader in the world to carry out their dictates. And as we have seen, they are going to cause. No. So the lamb-like beast is speaking like a dragon. The beast with the two hands like a lamb, speaking like a dragon. Let's look at something here. Now, America has roughly 750 to 800 military bases outside of North America, around the world. There is a tremendous play for power, political, religious, economic. America has reached the place where it can force the world to worship the beast and its image. Certainly, as Ellen White wrote in the testimonies, great changes are taking place in our world, and the final movements are rapid ones. Among the challenges that will face God's people is the economic sanctions. No buy, no sell. According to Revelation 13 and verse 18. So the image to the first beast, the American government joined with the popular churches as they passed the Sunday law, making it, by human law, the first day of the week as the weekly day of rest instead of the Lord's seventh-day Sabbath. This in deference to the Roman Catholic or papal system. There are interesting movements that are taking place here. We spoke also in the previous video of the mortal wound that have been received by the sea beast, the papacy, that was spoken of in Revelation 13 and verse 3. The deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. The Pope now has significant voice. His word carry worldwide weight. So the wound is healing as the papacy is back to prominence in world power. The present Pope, Pope Leo XIV, is the first American Pope and is all set in collaboration with the United States of America in enacting of the Sunday law, or the mark of their authority, the mark of the beast. So that is in opposition to the seal of God, which is his holy Sabbath. And we can find that in Ezekiel 20 and verse 12.
And Exodus 31 and verse 13.
You can read those passages for yourself. The Lord said he gave his Sabbath to his people that they may know that he is the Lord that sanctified them. He had made the day holy. And in keeping the day holy, we are mindful that as he made the day holy, by sanctifying it and setting it apart for his holy use, he can do the same for us. But in keeping the first day of the week, there is no authority given anywhere in the Bible for this to be done. So when that is done, it becomes now the mark of that power that gave sanction and gave the command to men to worship on the first day of the week. Now, we look at the Heritage Foundation briefly in the previous video. In their drive, Saving America by Saving the Family, a foundation for the next 250 years. Now, a 2026 policy agenda aiming to strengthen traditional heterosexual two-parent families to combat declining birth rate. The proposal recommends, and listen to this, the proposal recommends a uniform day of rest on Sundays They also are proposing significant tax incentives for parents and prioritizing it in-home parental care for over-day care. It should be noted here that the plan is good to save and restore the family, but to exalt a day of rest for the weak in opposition to the large 7-day Sabbath of the Lord, that is bad. That indeed is bad. We look also that there's a planned day which will be Sunday, May 17, 2026, where hundreds of thousands, perhaps up to 1 million or more Christians are expected to gather on National Mall in Washington, D.C. for, I quote, rededicate 250 National Jubilee prayer, praise, and thanksgiving, a massive revival event connected with America's 250th anniversary, and that will take place on the 4th of July this year. There is going to be great things happening here. Ministries connected with the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I speak right now of the Amazing Facts Ministry under Doug Batchelor, will be impacting this meeting with an outreach, sharing literature and other resources, sharing the three angels' messages and the everlasting gospel. So this calls for us now to pray earnestly for the Lord's will to be done and to support His ministry in whatever ways we can. Another significant date on the Heritage Foundation's agenda will be July 4, and that will be the 250th anniversary of the founding of the Union, the United States of America, and the ushering in of the golden era of the United States. The Pope is expected to make a significant contribution to this day of celebration as well. These are interesting times. The prophecies are rapidly fulfilling. We all have a choice to make between Christ and Satan, between truth and error, between life and death. I urge you all, as the Lord would have done, to choose Christ, truth and life. So it is dependent upon us and what we would choose to do. If we make it up in our minds that comes what may, we are not going to be disobedient to the Lord, because these are end times prophecies. They have implications for whether we are saved or lost, whether we make heaven or hell. So I counsel you now, as of now, to make that decision to follow Jesus, to surrender our lives to Him before the time of too late. Because if we take the mark of the beast, the wrath of God will be poured out upon us without mixture. 7 last plagues. It will be dreadful, and no human being can bear that. It will be dreadful. But if we live in obedience to the Lord, by His grace, He will save us by faith. He will save us. So, it is my wish, it is my prayer that all who hear will understand and will obey by giving our life to Jesus before it is too late. Please subscribe, like, and share so that this video can be moved up so that others can hear it. When we put in the likes, the algorithm will be there and YouTube will tend to push it forward so that others can see it. May God bless you. Like, share, and subscribe. O great God, our Father in heaven, we thank you that you have not left us in the dark, but by your prophecies, you told us what should happen before they happen, so that as we see the signs unfolding, we can have trust and confidence in you. May all who hear this give their lives to you before it is too late. Thank you, Lord. Amen.